Hello and welcome to the Money Honey Show with me, Rosalia Lazara, your host. I am the owner of Manuka Media, and on the side, I also host the Money Honey. What is that? The Money Honey. Okay, the Money Honey Show, and I created this obviously to bring more women to the screen. I spend a lot of time on social media. Everyone knows me as doing social media videos and content and things like that for the industry. But actually, it's not about me being on the screen. It's about bringing to you more women in the industry, what they're doing, how they built their careers, what journey they're on. And so today I have a very special guest called Kim. Well, they're all special, but Kim McGuinley from Vibe Specialist Finance. Now, Kim, I've known for even before I started my own business, actually, because she's a mortgage advisor, right? She does commercial, she does residential, bridging, HMOs. And because I was a BDM in the specialist lending world, I knew of Kim. But I really saw Kim build her business and her brand over the last 4 years on social media, particularly on LinkedIn. And I followed her journey of how she's grown her personal brand as well. So prior to setting up Vibe, Kim, so she set up Vibe in 2018, but Kim had spent the previous 12 years working for specialist banks in the commercial mortgage industry, working closely with, mortgage brokers and introducers and underwriting her own mortgage cases just from the get-go. So she's done this for a really long time. And this undoubtedly gave Kim the best oversight to what challenges a lender faces when you're met with a deal or a new opportunity, and the challenges that a broker faces as well. So because she's done that side of things when she's worked for the lender, when she became her own broker, she knew exactly both sides of the coin, which I really related to. There's the reason why I've been following Kim for a while is because when I first started out in financial services 7 years ago, I went straight into the deep end. I was doing commercial bridging, second charges, none of the residential vanilla high street cases. I was doing all the complex cases. And I did that from the master broking point of view. So I was working for a brokerage, and then I went to work for a lender. So I got to see both sides of the coin. The only thing I haven't done is actually been an advisor, like giving regulated advice. But I followed her journey on that. And she has used social media as her key marketing strategy to building her business while showing the real side of her. I've been following her daughter's dance competitions. I know all about that, but also just what an amazing boss she can be and what an amazing leader she is. She's a very busy mom. Very is in, brackets, in inverted commas, because we have to emphasize this. She has 2 children. She has a business. People work for her. She has to deal with a lot of complex cases. So she does a lot of property developers and investors. And I'm really looking to find out on the show, what is Kim time? How does Kim play? Yeah, I want to know about that as well. But I know she's going to be a massive inspiration for a lot of you on the show. So I'll let her do the talking. I can't wait to bring her on. Hello there, Kim.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? You're looking super glamorous today.
I'm showing off the colours. So yeah, a bit of vibrancy. But no, thank you for that introduction as well. It's really sweet.
Oh, you're welcome. It's all exactly how, it's all true, how I feel, how I see you from, this side of the screen. And really it's how would you describe yourself? Like, what would your intro be? Who are you and what do you do?
I know. Yeah, and it's pretty much, I mean, talking about yourself now is like, I always find it really, I struggle with it. I do. That imposter syndrome kicks in and I'm like, oh God. But no, it's what you said, being a mum, it's so important for me to people like to know that I'm not just Kim from Vibe, I am, like you say, a mum, the boss of like a team. So yeah, it's just really important for me, like, people to know that as well. I'm not just Kim Vibe. And I think that goes back to kind of what we were saying earlier, in that, you want people to see the real you. And I think running a business, being a mum, that's all part of like struggling day to day with different things. So yeah, that's just part of it, really.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I think one of the main reasons you stood out on LinkedIn is because you were one of the first to ever talk about, that personal side to your life, showing your kids and showing what you do outside of work. And you also very candidly, open and honestly have put yourself out there many times, speaking about, the hard times in business and the good times and the struggles and the battles. So that definitely has come across. And I think that's that shook people up a bit in the industry, thinking, hold on a minute, this isn't Facebook. And what are you posting about? So have you had much backlash because of that personal side that you've been showing on social media, which you bravely did, but then you end up getting, did you end up getting just positive news, or did you get a bit of backlash as well?
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, I haven't really been trolled as such. There's been certain, comments left. Do you know what it actually is? It's when people meet you in person, it's that, oh, you're Kim from LinkedIn. And I've had it where people have actually said to me, I don't actually like you. They've got that preconception of me for whatever reason. And they start talking to me and I'm just a normal person. And then they're like, actually, you're really nice. But it's funny how people do. One, like they think that is all you are, is what they see on socials. And it's funny how like what I put out there, to me, there's nothing really controversial or anything like that. It's just me being me, and how people can then judge you on that. But you're right, you still get people thinking, God, why is she posting that? But I would never post if it really bothered me what everyone thought and I took that on. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point. I don't post for anyone else bar myself, and I'm not doing it. And I love what you do, and you say to people, like, you're helping people day in, day out get that confidence to just start posting. Don't worry about how many likes you get. Don't worry about the impressions. It takes time and that will come. But even now I post and the algorithm's shot to bits, and I don't get many likes or whatever, but it's not that's not why I'm posting. So it's just doing it consistently and without fear of, what anyone else thinks, because we wouldn't do anything if that was the case, holding ourselves back. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think, you and I have the same perception of what social media is about, and we use it for the same reasons. It's not for the glory, it's not for the leads, it's for ourselves. And I literally just recorded an episode just before you came on. There was another episode that I recorded, and I said to that guest, I said, I actually I watch my own content. I literally post, and then like I find myself months later or weeks later going back. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really good day. Or that was a good, I go back to my own post and I enjoy my own post because I'm posting and documenting my journey. And that's because I've been practicing it for many, many years. I've always been a poster, I've always been a sharer, if you like, I've always been quite open to sharing myself and sharing my journey. And I have, relatives from America, from Italy, friends from all over the world that are part of this experience, all because of Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Like, that's it. How easy is that?
Absolutely. How easy is it for someone to not follow someone? If you don't like someone's content, you don't have to put a crappy comment on there. Just unfollow. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. I think it's just easy to, to control the content that you're seeing.
Exactly. I always say, have a social media clear out, have a social media detox. I actually probably on a daily basis. So I've been trying to grow my Instagram channel on the business account. So the personal one grew quite quickly to just under 2,000 followers at the moment. But then my business account is fairly new. And I would say, in the last few months, it's grown to about 500 followers. But every time I've gained 10, I've lost 2. So I keep losing followers, right? And that's probably because they see me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. They see me everywhere. And so it's like, okay, I don't need to see another page now. Could be that. But it could also be, all right, maybe this page isn't for you. And I'd rather have 200 solid followers that are really like aligned with who I am and what I'm doing. So actually, I now celebrate when someone unfollows me, because I think, okay, there's something about what I've done or said that isn't aligned with them. And that's the case. And they've self-qualified that and they've removed themselves from my circle. Great. I haven't had to do that for you. So please self-qualify. If you don't want to be around our posts, like please, you're doing me a favor. Like, absolutely, you can find there's millions of posts out there. Find someone that you are aligned to, but social media should be your safe space to be surrounded by the people you actually enjoy and the things you enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tell me about your business and how you've come to build Vibe. You know, I want to know things like, where did the name come from? How did you go from the banking to building, you know, to being broking, like how did it all come about?
So I'll probably go back to my days working for the lenders. I think you hit a certain age, and I literally came to about 30 years old, and you just start questioning, you know, doing things for yourself. Shouldn't I start my own business? Can I? And I think what made the decision for me, and I stress that I worked with some fantastic brokers, but I always say that going back to my lending, I got to see the full spectrum of quality of cases being submitted, of the lack of advice in certain instances being given to clients. And I'll also say that the fees that were being charged to these clients for that disservice was actually really disheartening to see. But also gave me the inspiration. And going back to my point of working with some great brokers, there are some amazing brokers that are still my friends to this day. Honestly, they've been so supportive of me. But there are brokers out there that we know industry that do kind of let the side down. So actually using that, realizing that investor financing isn't simple, it's not a tick box system. And I'd learned a lot in my 12 years of doing, you know, purely working on the lender side. So yeah, having that decision. So my daughter was really young at the time, actually. I made my decision when she was about less than 1 year old. And yeah, I just kind of dove into it, like, and never looked back. And at the time, I mean, I'm an all or nothing person. I make a decision. I don't dither and question myself. I just think it, and I know in my heart that is what I'm going to do. So, and I go at things at 100 miles an hour, and I have to have everything covered. So I had like, I think a 6 month, I want to say, notice period, maybe 3 or 6 months, I can't remember. And in that time, I made a promise to myself that I was going to get the business lined up. So my name came about. My friend was saying to me about something completely different. He was like, Kim, what's your vibe about this? What's your vibe? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's my vibe? Didn't even think. And he was like, you know, what's your feeling about it? And then as I was describing doing this business, whatever I was going to call it, I was like, well, I want it to have family vibes. So I want it to have this vibe. And I just kept coming. I thought, that is it. That is the name for the business. So that's how the name, starting the business. I mean, I got my CMAP within like a 3-month period. So we don't need CMAP qualifications for what we do. But I knew that, you know, in the future, should it ever become regulated, I kind of want to be ready for it. So I got CMAP qualified, and I will never forget that it's like 3rd of April, 2018, sitting there. I'd left my job and I was at my desk at my home office, and I was like, right, where am I going to get my clients from? My clients until that day were other people. Yeah. Then I just started out social media. It's free. I didn't have the money at the time to be throwing it at leads. And I literally had to be really careful for like the first year. So networking events, just started hitting as many of those as possible. And then it just progressed into posting, and then it generates into referrals and then other things coming about. So did I plan to take people on the way I did? No, certain things have happened, I think, in the stages of me running Vibe that kind of made the decisions for me. And I'll always talk about those head and heart moments thinking, oh my God, do I, don't I? And again, you know, I've just kind of bit the bullet and kind of done it. So yeah, taking people on was scary. Never managed people before in my life. So I've always been managed. But I use the good management skills that I've had in the past or been shown to me, and also the bad ones, and learned from that. I always knew, being a mum, so I had flexible working before the pandemic, before we had lockdowns. I knew what flexible working did for me with my role in London. So I was in London 2 days, working from home 3 days. And I can't tell you how much more productive I am working from home. No distractions. I'm literally on it. So I was, yeah, really supportive of that. And I've used the Vibe. Yes, it is for some people. It's not for others. but I wanted to create something flexible. If someone's kid has got a play or a Mother's Day assembly or this and that, that comes first. And that is the business that I'm building. Because I know, being a mum of like children, how much that means to have that in a role. So yeah, it's just learning from everything that I've ever had in the past and putting it all into Vibe, and hopefully creating an environment where parents don't feel bad if they've got to have time off for the kids, or teachers are striking. I've got some of the team working from home. It's just creating something where you trust them as well. So yeah, sorry, I probably rambled a little bit there,
no,
but
I absolutely love that. You know, this is the side, this is my selfish time with Kim. You know, obviously I can read your posts and I can follow your story on Instagram and Facebook, but obviously we barely have time to just like talk to ourselves, let alone to other people, you know. So we just wanted this time with you and the listeners as well to just get an insight into your world. And I think so far the key takeaways here have been, I mean, I love the word vibe. I mean, if you come to my house, like there's a vision board there's personal development books over here, you know, I've got affirmations, you know, it's all about the vibe. Yeah. So I've you know, when I saw that name, I was like, oh yeah, that's clever. You know, I felt instantly, I gravitated towards that because I just knew what you were doing. And so that's a big takeaway for me, is just going with your gut. So that's definitely so far what you've highlighted here in your experiences. It's definitely, you don't know what you're doing. And I felt exactly the same, you know, when I was when I was made redundant, I was like, I feel like I'm made for more, but I just don't know what that looks like yet. So I have to just explore that.
yeah.
And then exactly like you, I didn't have the money to start a business and invest and get, you know, funding or buy stuff or throw it at expensive marketing strategies. I wanted to be a lazy marketer. I wanted to be lazy in the sense of, how can I get the quickest return with the least amount of investment? Now, there's lots of effort. There's not the least amount of effort, because I know you know how much effort it takes to post on social media, to build up your algorithm, to build up your following. I know that that is an industry in and of itself. And that's exactly how I did it. I just went on social media. It's free. But what about those people, Kim, that are looking at you and me and be like, yeah, it's all right for you two to post on social media. Like, you're good at this or you're good at that. And but there's so many people that are afraid of putting themselves out there on there. So how would you, even if they were to want to work for you, there might be brokers that say, oh yeah, I want to work for you, but I don't want to put myself out there on social media. How do you guide those people?
They'll always, I mean, we can't enforce people to, you know, if you come into Vibe, then you have to. It's great. I love to promote people. I love them elevate and promote themselves in a way that they might not stay at Vibe for the rest of their career, but this could be setting themselves up. We know like how many people in our industry use social media, build your profile. But yeah, I'd more put it in a way that, I mean, I've got members of the team that, you know, putting one post on a week, maybe once a month would be like, oh, they don't win it. I will never make them do it, but I try and help them with their comfort zones, give them a bit of encouragement. And I think it's just a mindset. How do you describe good on social media? And how do you actually say, right, they're good at it because of this? I mean, it's your own content, it's your own thoughts that you're putting out there. I just think as long as you're genuine, you know, not copying, pasting someone else's content, you're just being yourself, genuine. That's what people like to see. And that's what makes it the most vulnerable. I've put so many posts on thinking, oh God, should I put that? I don't think I should. But then I just do it anyway. And I'm really glad that I then did. So yeah, for me, it's just encouraging them. It does feel like, even for me posting now, that people just think it doesn't bother us. It does. In a sense that you just, for me, I just don't want to be that controversial person on there. It's just not who I am as a person. So why would I do it on social media just to get followers or likes?
Yes, yeah.
I also won't. Yeah, and just I won't apologize though for having my own thoughts on things. So yeah, it's just one of those things that it's done, but it's never comfortable.
No,
you just end up caring as much what people think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously I can't pay my bills with people's opinions. Like, I literally cannot do anything with what other people just decided to think about on that particular moment. So I post with the intention of, like you say, just, it could just be one person. Like, I literally don't even monitor the likes and the engagements and things like that. It could be that one person who seen my post and has said, because of you, I went to the gym. Thank you for helping me, you know, reconnect with my like health. Or it could be that one person who says, do you know what? I was thinking about quitting my job, but I was so scared, and I've just seen how well you've done from it. Could we have that little one-to-one chat? And it's just like, it's not even a lead, it's not even a piece of business, but it's just, you know, that you've touched a life. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's just that one person who, without your post, could have made the wrong choice that day, or could have taken a different turn. And we're not responsible for what people do when they read things, but there is a sense of responsibility that when you are on social media, you know, whatever you're posting is being shown to young people, older people, your family. And I do think responsibly and think, right, if I could do anything today, if I can post about something, how do I want that person to feel if they come across my profile? How do I want them to feel? And what actions do I want them to take if they read what I had to read? Because let's face it, there's enough rubbish out there being posted and making people think. So, do you know what I mean? You know where I'm trying to go with this, yeah?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think as well, you know, it's, people don't need to put too much pressure on themselves when it comes to social media. Me alone, but I literally take it with a pinch of salt now as well, that, you know, I'm not there for those that look at my posts and eye roll. I'm there for those, like you say. And it's funny because what people don't see is the private messages. And it's those private messages where people reach out. Let's say I've had a really crap day and I've put it on social media and been like, do you know what? If you're a boss out there or manager and you're having a bad day, it's okay. They know, like, I get messages saying, Kim, are you all right? You know, other brokers will message me, and it means so much. And you're right, not even to do with brokers or business. It could be something totally different, like health and fitness or whatever it might be. But people buy from people. It's the bigger picture, that forget just being on there purely for business. Get to know other people, comment and like other people's posts. It's not just about everyone liking and commenting on yours. So if you're there showing the love for other people and content that you like, it will be shown back to you as well. So there is give and take as well with social. And I think people get so into the concept of, I need to post, why aren't I getting likes? But then they're not actually spending that much time. You know, there's so many people. Look at us. We got to know each other on LinkedIn. It's crazy. But there's so many contacts that I've got like that I've now met in real life, and I've developed, you know, really good business relationships with. And it's just amazing to see. And I think that's when you truly know the power of social media. It's not just judged, like we said, by the stats. It's actually those genuine relationships that you get from it. And if you're a genuine person, that will be reciprocated.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's a lady that I interviewed again earlier today. And I've never met her before. We weren't even connected on social media. And she heard about me in a room. So she must have been at some sort of lunch or networking event. And there must have been like some, you know, lenders, BDMs and people in there. And my name just kept coming up. And she then messaged me, like connected with me on LinkedIn, and then messaged me privately and told me what was being said about me in that room, like the positive things that were being said about me in that room. And I thought, you've just gone a step further beyond than just connecting. You've just validated, you've just given me, you know, a really nice gift for the day, because what you've done is you could have kept those conversations in that room private. I wasn't there, I wasn't privy to them. And whatever thing people are saying about me behind closed doors is there. Good or bad is not my business. You know, whether it's good or bad, it's up to them. But you've just done a really kind thing, reached out on social media. You've told me, you know, what positive impact I've had in that room, whatever room that was. And you shared that with me. And I just thought that was so beautiful, that the power of social media brought me a stranger into my life that has got an amazing attitude, amazing mindset. She's not a client. I'm not her client. She's just someone that just was drawn to me, and we've now become, friends, and she's been on the podcast. So that's the beauty about social media. It's not just about lead generation. Often I get brokers approaching me saying, oh, how much do you charge, and what's the return on investment, and how soon will I see leads? I'm like, oh, you've missed it. You've missed the whole point.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'm not for you.
Yeah, maybe we're not. Yeah, that's not what I was posting about, because if I wanted to sell you leads, if I was here to just sell you leads, I would have said that. But maybe this is not the journey we'll go on. But right. So speaking about social media, to just putting that to one side, because obviously we could talk about that all day. I want to know, how does Kim play? Right, because Kim is very busy. You're there for you're there for your team. You're there for your kids. I know you're there for your daughter. I know you're there for your family. Like, you're such an amazing cheerleader for them. But how do you nurture and look after Kim McGuinley?
Unfortunately, Kim McGuinley until recently was put on the back burner a little bit. I've always enjoyed running. Like I say, I've enjoyed running. I don't like the thought of going running. I love actually running, and I love the feeling of getting back. So running is my thing, where my mind can just shut off, and just like focus on what I'm doing for like half an hour, So that is my biggest thing that I would probably say that I do. I love a good bath, love a bath. I could stay in the bath for blooming 2 hours if I needed to. And that is my downtime as well. But other than that, so other than that, genuinely, I love a good meal. I love a glass of wine. So between those things, I fit it in when and where I can. I don't have a daily routine. My routine changes every day. So I'm still there doing school drop-offs, sometimes pickups, seeing the plays, getting my daughter to dancing, meetings at work, working around it. But there is no day that is the same. And that's what I love about being self-employed. That's why I do what I do. So, but yeah, I'm starting to realize I have to prioritize me. So I've now, my goal for this year, booking a monthly massage. I've stuck to that. I'm doing that. But yeah,
I've literally I spend my salary on osteopaths and physiotherapists, and massages is definitely one of my pleasures that I enjoy. Yeah, for sure. I have to use it. I highly recommend that, Kim. But I wanted to ask, and without obviously being too, if you don't want to, but why do you think Kim had to go on the back? But you said Kim had to go on the back burner a bit. Why does that happen? And I'm sure lots of people feel that way sometimes. Where do you think that comes about, that then people end up putting themselves last?
I was actually forced into putting myself first, and I'll come on to that in a minute. Why do we do it? Because I want to be a good boss. I want to be a good mum. I want to be a good wife. And I've realized you cannot do all of those things, and you can't do it unless you are putting yourself first. So it got to a point, I've suffered burnout maybe 3 times, and it's just not fun. And you know what the worst thing is about burnout? For someone like me, and I'm not saying it's different because I'm a woman or anything like that, but when burnout happens, I don't have time, or I can't take a step back and get signed off work for like 2-3 weeks. I feel like I can't stop being a mum. I can't stop being a wife. I can't stop being a boss. So I've had to figure out a way to work through the burnout. I can spot the triggers. I know when it's happening, but I can't stop elements of my life. So for me, that's what I mean. It's forced me into this position where I have to put myself first, or I will be back there again. And that makes me more selfish. And I don't like being a selfish person. I love making people happy. I love, being there as much as I can, boss and present for the kids and things like that. But I've now realized I have to be selfish in order to do that. Also, I think that when you run a business, it is literally like you're giving 200% for 24 hours a day. There have been times, definitely in the first 2 years, I haven't done this in a really long time. I used to work till like midnight in and around the kids, and I would not sleep well, and I'd get up at 3 a.m. and I'd start working. Really bad cycle, really bad habit for a long time. But I think entrepreneurs, that is just the way it is. I speak to so many people, And that's the way it is. As we now progress, I'm 5 years down the line. What I'm really good at now is emails don't need to be responded to the minute they hit your inbox. Calls don't have to be. It's advertising certain things, but it's knowing you don't have to be at everyone's beck and call 24 hours a day. And I'm really good now at switching off, thinking, no, I need a break and I'm going to have a break. And it's having that mentality, but it's taken me a really long time to get there. I can't hear you. I don't know if it's my laptop.
Oh, I've done it again. Sorry. No, it's me. I basically mute myself because I'm listening intensely and I'm making noises in the background like and I don't want to like disturb you, so apologies. But I just said basically, I'm really glad you shared that, because I know that can be obviously that puts you in a vulnerable place, but in a positive way, because I think what you go through, we all go through. Listeners listening to this, you might be employed or self-employed or an entrepreneur, and I know you can relate to burnout. I know regardless of what employment status you have, we've all been there before. But it is that concept of knowing what the triggers are. I think that's the key. You've just mentioned that. I think it's good that if we've ever been there before, that's actually a good lesson, because you know how you got there and you know how to avoid it next time. But like you said, it's just understanding what triggers it and then negotiating with yourself or discussing that with yourself and saying, actually, no, this can't happen, because you're trying to juggle being a mum and a wife and a business owner. But what is that? How are you going to be any good at that if you are like passed out on the sofa? Like, you can't physically do all the other things that you want to be good at. So I always say, right, that I feel that business owners need to have a very serious check-in with their health and their mindset, because how can you be a business owner and be responsible for so many clients and employees and a family if you look like shit?
Definitely.
Because
There's too much of an onus and a perception that being a business owner, you have to be perceived to be this wrong, always ready for business, always working hard, and any vulnerability is almost like, oh, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be the strong one. Actually, what I've learned in the way, I wear my heart on my sleeve. My team know if I'm having not a great time or not a great day, but I think it's just how can we expect and talk about mental health if we can't talk as leaders? So when this goes back a couple of years, I remember some in the industry had said to me, oh, maybe you shouldn't actually share that with the team. And I was like, but what is that doing? It's that we tell people to talk about it, and then we can't talk about it because we're a business leader. So it's like, I will be myself. I'll be the leader that I think I should be. And part of that is being open and honest and being a bit more like different. That's what I try to put on social media as well. We don't have to, I'd have any listeners to this, these social media thing, wow, they're smashing it day in, day out. There's never a bad day. There always is a bad day. And it's fine for us to actually say that. Not many people do, but there's bad days as well as good days, and share it.
1000%. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people think, oh, you're like yellow, big energy, always positive. And it's like, no, I am sometimes in my pajamas, and sometimes I literally just need a duvet day. And no, I'm not always in my yellow dress. I do own other clothes as well. But I try to share that on social media, where I'm like, okay, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, yes, I most days I have to say I am positive. Yes, that is true. I've got so many positive things, but that's because, guys, I put myself in that space. If you think I'm posting too much and I've just got too much to say, because there's too many good things happening in my life that I'm making happen, right? I'm putting myself out there with, projects with schools and charities. I work with a lot of fantastic mortgage brokers and IFAs and fintech platforms that are aligned, with my values. And I want to talk about them. That's why I make potentially my social media look so positive all the time, because Otherwise, I'd have to post about me in bed, like on the sofa, on having a duvet day. And I don't have many of those days because I force even when I don't want to, I make myself go to the gym. I go to yoga because I have to look after my sanity and my mental health and my well-being. Otherwise, I won't enjoy the good days.
Yeah, definitely.
So, exactly. So, honestly, this has been very eye-opening from someone who potentially gets see. I'm going to speculate here that maybe a lot of people, like you said before, that they probably saw you online and they thought, oh, I don't like her, right? And then they met you and they're like, oh, actually, you're not what I thought you were, and I do like you. But what I really got from this is social media is not the full story. Okay, it never is the full story. Even with people as open as Kim and I, who do talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, we still can't really put everything on social media, right? Because we don't need to, because we don't want to. But there's still something you don't know about that person. So, when in doubt, whatever the policy, you should just come down to being kind, just knowing that you don't know what that person's going through. They might be having a good day today, but you didn't see them yesterday. So just not judging people by their social media profile. What takeaway would you like people to have today, Kim? What would you leave people with?
Oh God. I just think for anyone that's thinking about starting their own business or wanting to do something a bit different or do something more, do it. I don't know anyone really that's gone self-employed and regretted it. I think if you get inspiration, and that, also another trick that I've always been told, just you're not dreaming big enough. Just believe in yourself, do it. And I'd love to inspire more women brokers into this amazing industry. I absolutely love what we do. So if you are listening to this and you are a female broker or thinking about doing it, please do, and have a voice in the industry when you do.
Yes, exactly. That's the message of the Money Honey. Thank you for finishing off on that note, because if you notice the subtle wording there, the language that Kim used, which is, if you have a voice in the industry, then use it. So if you are a female in the industry, if you are in this space, then don't just be a spectator, join the conversation. And so if you're listening to this and you are tuning into the Money Honey podcast, there's lots of ways in which you can participate. You don't have to be a speaker to make a big impact. Okay, speakers are doing their bit. That's them stepping into that outside of their comfort zone, because believe me, I'm sure Kim had her reservations as well. I know she does this a lot, but we all get nervous at some times. But that's one participation, is to be a speaker. The other participation could be to be a sharer, speaking about this, sharing it with people that you think will really benefit from it. Maybe you've listened to this episode today, and the one way in which you participate is simply to like it. Just like it. That's your participation, right? We're not asking you to do a big speech. We're not asking you to do a big campaign. It might just be a thumbs up, to share that you are there, you're listening, you appreciate this. Or it might be to go a step further and share it, physically send it to someone that you think would benefit from this. But the one thing I would encourage is, if you are listening to the speakers and you have truly benefited and you felt empowered by their talk today, tell them, reach out. Otherwise, how would they know? And I think it's just the best gift you can give someone is, I heard you on that talk today. Well done. I got this from it. So however you want to participate, whatever voice you want to have as a female in finance, property, or construction, take your pick. These are the ways in which you can contribute to the wider cause. And Kim, I'm sure people will be eager to connect with you. Can I share with them your LinkedIn and things like that?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's been amazing. Thank you for tuning in, guys.